Hello, I hope you're well. My name's Jack and today we're doing the Vinyl Tag 2021. Now, I've seen a few people do these and I thought I'd give it a go and see what happens. I also have an Instagram dedicated to posting vinyl. It's _vinyl_countdown if you want to go check that out. If you have came from that Instagram account and you found this channel, this is not what I usually do. I usually do covers and, you know, stuff like that, music related. But hey, I thought I'd try something different and let's dive into it. So, these are 20 questions for the Vinyl Tag 2021. Number 1, a discovery in 2020. I discovered one of my new favourite bands, Lark and Poe, Self-Made Man. This is an awesome band. It's two girls, Rebecca and Megan, and it's like country, alt-rock kind of vibes. I've discovered them because I'm a huge fan of her husband, Tyler Bryant, who is an awesome artist. I've seen him before and he's fantastic. But then I found these and I was like, oh my god, these are absolutely awesome. So if you like your country music and you know you like your alternative kind of stuff, this is a great band. Lark and Poe, Self-Made Man. Definitely check out track number 4, Back Down South, because it features Tyler Bryant on guitar and it's very, very good. Number 2, a quarantine buy. So I didn't really buy many records in lockdown because I like to go to a record shop and, you know, have a browse. And I tend to not buy stuff online because for me the thrills in the chase kind of thing. So I like to go to a record shop and buy records. So, but in October, me and my girlfriend went to York for the week when you're allowed to do that, and we stopped over there. And there's a record shop in York. They had this, Tigers of Pantang, Crazy Nights. I'm a huge fan of the Tigers of Pantang. It's really cool as well because the Tigers of Pantang, the majority of them are from Newcastle. They're actually from a little town called Whitley Bay. And because I live in Newcastle as well, I've had the pleasure of interacting with a few of them over Facebook. I actually auditioned for the Tigers as well because they've got a new guitar player and I sadly didn't get the job. But if you want to check out my audition video, I'll put it up here somewhere so you can go have a look at it. Tigers of Pantang, Crazy Nights. If you like your new wave of British heavy metal, that kind of vibe, it's absolutely fantastic. My favourite track is Raised on Rock, the last track on the album. Just great riffs and great vocals, and most famously, I should point out, John Sykes is on this album. He's on a couple other albums as well. But John Sykes is famous for being in Whitesnake and Thin Lizzy, and he sounds unreal on this. So Crazy Nights, Tigers of Pantang, fantastic album. An LP you want to buy in 2021. Well, I wanted to buy this, but yesterday my girlfriend actually surprised me with it. And it's a country album by the Brothers Osborne, Skeletons. Absolutely fantastic album. It's like outlaw country vibes, but like there's something a bit different on it as well. Some of the tracks don't sound very country. They sound kind of... One of my favourite tracks on it is number 3, All the Good Ones Are. It's got like a... I think it's got like a Queens of the Stone Age kind of vibe. You know when they kind of changed their sound on like Clockwork? It's kind of got that kind of vibe on it a little bit. But it's just a fantastic album. And the best part is it came with a vinyl mat, which as soon as I saw it, I immediately put on my record player, but I've taken it off for this video. But how cool is that? That's wicked. Number 4, a box set. I own 2 box sets, but this is one of them. It's Currents by Tame Impala. And I really wanted this because the look of the record itself looks insane. Let me show you. So inside, got the record and its gatefold. And oh, I mean, the artwork in the middle looks insane. But let me show you the record itself. I mean, that looks awesome. It's like blood red mixed with a bit of black, and it's very, very cool. And it comes with a few other bits and bobs, posters, and it comes with a couple of singles and a couple of alternative mixes and stuff as well. So it's a pretty cool little box set. I think I got it for Christmas one year. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I prefer their earlier stuff, like the first album, Inner Speak, is probably my favourite. But I was really happy to get this box set. It's really cool. Number 5, a concept album. Okay, well, I think a lot of their albums could be considered concept, but I went for 2112 by Rush. For those of you who know Rush, prog rock classic. And this album, I believe, was inspired by the book The Fountainhead. It's kind of a concept album, I suppose, because the first side of this album is one song, is one long 20-minute song. Yeah, it's really good. I really enjoy it. It's probably my favourite Rush record. Yeah, I'd probably say it is. Yeah, I really like the first album as well because it's a bit more straight to the point, and I think I've got to be in the mood for prog, but 2112 is a great record. So if you're into your prog music, I would recommend it. My favourite track on it is Passage to Bangkok. I was in the car just before and it actually came on my shuffle. And yeah, it's a really, really cool song. It's kind of like that kind of Japanese kind of vibe to it. It's really, really cool. So yes, 2112, Rush. An album where the artist or band changed their direction. So it's weird, right? Because for me, I tend to not like albums where the band have changed their sound. Which I know if you're a fan of the band, you should like, you know, kind of give them the benefit of the doubt and kind of, you know, go with it and see what it sounds like. But for me, you know, I use Apple Music, I use streaming services, so I tend to listen to stuff and then if I really like it, I'll buy it on vinyl. So I don't really have many albums of the people I really like where they have changed direction. So the only thing I could really come up with is Motley Crue, because some would argue the first album, Too Fast for Love, and the second album, Shout at the Devil, are a bit different to what they were kind of known for a little bit later on Girls, Girls, Girls. Kind of started out a bit more punky and then it got really hair metal. So I guess that would be my answer. This isn't really my favourite Crue record. I do prefer the earlier stuff, but I went through a big phase where I got really into them after seeing them on their farewell tour. That, even though they're not saying goodbye anymore, but you know. And then of course the film The Dirt came out and that is just, it's a great film. If you haven't watched it, even if you don't like Motley Crue, you should definitely go watch The Dirt. It is a great movie. Girls, 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 Motley Crue. I have just had a thought about what I just said. I do have another album that I think could be classed as them changing the direction, but it wasn't kind of the first album that made their direction change. But Villains, Queens of the Stone Age. I mean, I think like Clockwork kind of started off this new style of what they were going for, but I don't have that album. But Villains is an awesome record. You know, I think it's probably my second favourite Queens of the Stone Age album after Songs for the Deaf. And I guess it is different. So yeah, we'll go with that as well. So Villains. A white label promo. I don't have one, I'm afraid. Compilation album. I went for a soundtrack because I don't really have any compilation albums. I only really have soundtracks with lots of different songs on. So I've went for Stranger Things soundtrack, number 3. This has got some great tunes on. Honestly, my favourite song on it is Material Girl by Madonna. That is a great tune. Let me show you the record. Look at that. What I really like about this album as well is it comes with a single. If you watch the show, he sings Never Ending Story. Now this is pretty cool, right? So side A is Never Ending Story, but side B is it played backwards, like in the upside down. It's kind of cool. Number 9, an album with a story. I've went for the classic rock opera Quadrophenia. Quadrophenia is a fantastic album from The Who. It's one of those albums that I can't just listen to one song, I have to listen to the whole album because it does kind of tell a story. For those of you who don't know, it's about in the 60s when the Mods and Rockers had a big rivalry, and it's about a guy dealing with, you know, anxiety and depression, and it's still very relevant, I think. It's kind of about not fitting in. Yeah, it's a fantastic album. I really like how it comes with a booklet on the inside. With lyrics and pictures and stuff like that. And then of course it was made into a film. I went to Brighton in March last year, just before the lockdown, and it was really cool because we went to Quadrophenia Alley, which is where there's a very famous scene in the film where he does something in that alley. And it was kind of cool to see all those sights for real. I'm a huge fanboy of the album and the film. Favourite track? I think probably Dr. Jimmy is probably my favourite track on this. I like The One as well. Love Rain on Me. But again, I have to listen to the full thing. I couldn't just listen to just one. An album that needs a vinyl pressing. I don't really know, if I'm honest. I don't really have an answer for this one, I'm afraid. I couldn't think of anything that I've got on CD that I'd want on vinyl that isn't already available. So I wasn't too sure about this one. A common album and an uncommon album. Alright, so I went for the classic, Abbey Road. Lots of people have this album, it's quite a common album, I would say. It's the best Beatles album in my opinion. But then I think for the uncommon one, I thought I'd keep it Abbey Road, but I got the box set for the 50th anniversary, and it's the one where they're walking the other way, and this is all the B-sides and alternative takes and stuff like that, and it's quite an interesting listen. The Beatles did 25 takes for every song, and it's kind of cool to hear how a different take could sound so different. So yeah, I think this is my uncommon and that's my common album. An EP. I only have one EP, really. I only really have albums or singles, but this is Motorhead, The Golden Years live EP. It's really cool. The track listing on this is Living Here, Stone Dead Forever, Dead Men Tell No Tales, Too Late, Too Late. And it's great. I went through a big phase of really liking Motorhead and collected quite a few of their records and singles and stuff. And yeah, this is a really cool little EP. Number 13, a girl group. Lark and Poe. An album cover you love. Has to be Number of the Beast, Iron Maiden. This is an awesome record and I absolutely love the artwork on this. The direction the band gave the designer of this was who's pulling the strings. Because as you can see, Eddie's pulling the devil, but also the devil is pulling, where is he? Little Eddie, right there. So that's pretty cool. And it's a fantastic record. It's the first album with Bruce on and it's really, really good. If you've not checked out this album, this is a really, really good album. My favourite track on it is probably Hallowed Be Thy Name, the last track on it, but there's so many great songs on this album, so definitely check that out if you haven't. An album that you've listened to the most. Well, I'm gonna go for my favourite album of all time because it's always on my record player, and that is Reckless by Bryan Adams. This is the album. This is just, it's such a great record. I went to go see Bryan in 2014 for the, I'm looking at the poster up there because I've got it, for the 30th anniversary of the Reckless album, and he was insane. Like, he's one of the only people I've seen where it sounds just like the record, and because they played the record in full, someone might as well have just put a CD on. It was that good and that close sounding to the actual album, and it's just a fantastic album. If you've not listened to Bryan, you know, I think unfortunately Bryan can be pigeonholed because of his ballad type songs, but then you've got songs like Run to You and One Night Love Affair and Kids Wanna Rock and It's Only Love. They are absolute bangers. And my other favourite thing about this album as well is Keith Scott, the guitar player, is like one of my favourite players. He is absolutely fantastic. So if you've not checked out Bryan, you want to check this album out. It's really, really good. You won't be disappointed. An album that you had the OG copy of. So with original press stuff, I'm not really that bothered about it. I know quite a lot of collectors are like, oh, I want the original press and stuff like that. Doesn't really bother me so much. And as well, I don't necessarily look out for it and know which ones of mine are original press or not, but I know this one is because it's my dad's. So Van Halen 1, rest in peace Eddie. I know for a fact this is the original press. This is a fantastic album. I remember when I first got into record collecting, the first record I bought was 1984 on new vinyl, when vinyl started to like make its comeback maybe 10 years ago. And I really enjoyed it, and my dad said, oh, why don't you listen to this one, and he gifted me this. If you want it back, Dad, then that might not happen because I really like this album, but it's fantastic and it is the original press. So yeah, awesome record, love Eddie. The last album you purchased. Well, it wasn't purchased, I got it for Christmas, but Starting Over by Chris Stapleton. This is a great album. I got into Chris a couple of years ago and I just loved the stuff he does, like with the slow stuff, the rocky stuff. This has got the best of both worlds. And I'd go as far to say this is the best album he's ever done. It's really, really, really good. So many great guests on it as well. Mike Campbell from The Heartbreakers. It's such a great album. Favourite track on it is probably Arkansas and Watch You Burn maybe. Starting Over as well is a great song. Devil Always Made Me Think Twice. It's just great sounding album. The one thing that I didn't particularly like about this, because I've got a thing where like I like to keep records in the best condition they can, and they've got this thing in here. See if I can get this on camera. It says this record belongs to, and then you can put your name in. I'm not going to do that. It'll devalue the record, you know. So nice try, Chris, but I'm not going to do that. But it is an absolutely fantastic record. If you've not listened to Chris, this is probably a good starting point. Starting Over, Chris Stapleton. An album they don't get. I've went for Welcome to Hell by Venom. Now this album is really cool. If you are into your black metal, your thrash metal, your speed metal, this arguably could be where it started. And I'm kind of biased because they're from Newcastle, I'm from Newcastle, and I know Tony the drummer quite well, but this arguably is where it kind of all started. What's also really cool about this record is one of the producers for this album is Steve Thompson, who I'm currently writing a few songs with. So it's kind of cool to be writing with someone who, you know, had something to do with this. He also wrote one of the biggest songs for the Tigers Pantang called Paris by Air as well. But this album, it's kind of like, I think black metal and Venom as a whole, you either love them or you hate them. They're kind of There's no middle ground. It's so in your face and heavy. I think I like this one the most though because it's a bit more raw, and there's something about it that it's just, you can just tell it was just three blokes in a room making noise, and it's that sound. It's really, really great. And I want to show you this as well, actually. I'll put a picture on the screen as well, but this centerfold here, let's get that on camera. Them climbing these rocks, that's actually on Longsands Beach in Tynemouth, and I went there last year just to, you know, I don't live very far away from it, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna get my picture, so I, you know, went there and got my picture and that. So, but yeah, Venom, Welcome to Hell. It is a Marmite album. It's a Marmite band, but I think it's pretty cool, and the ties to the Northeast and stuff, you know, it's really cool. A punk album. I don't really have a punk album. I'm not really into that kind of stuff. So the closest I think I have to it, which it does say on there, it says, oh, the closest thing you have to it, I'm gonna go with Tape Deck Heart by Frank Turner. Because although he is an acoustic artist predominantly, you can hear there's definitely punk elements to the song where it's all fast paced. It's almost like punk folk kind of vibe. But he's awesome, and this record looks really, really nice. Look at that. Orange and yellow splatter. Very, very, very cool. This is a great album. I sort of discovered him through a friend, and I only really heard a song on here called The Way I Tend to Be, which is kind of his most famous song. And then I got into the rest of the tunes, and then I also bought Positive Songs for Negative People as well on Picture Disc. He just writes some great tunes. I really like his songwriting, and I like his approach to the songs as well. So yeah, this is a great album. And finally, a favourite 2020 reissue. It's got to be one of my all-time favourite artists, Tom Petty, Wildflowers and More. And all the rest even. Sorry, Tom. I really got into Tom Petty after he passed away, sadly, which is a gutter because I would have really loved to have seen him. As soon as he passed away, I got into him, which is such a shame, you know. But this is fantastic. Wildflowers had never been re-released before, and as soon as I knew it was coming out, I was like, I'm absolutely getting this. And I think this was for Christmas as well, actually. But I really like all the artwork on the inside. Like, I mean, that's, you know, how nice does that look? Looks really, really cool. Yeah, it's just fantastic. It's one of those albums as well where like there's not a bad song on it, you know, they're all really well written, and it's kind of fun to hear the stuff that wasn't released earlier as well. I love the story of this album. If you haven't checked out a documentary called Sound City, you should definitely have a look. It's Dave Grohl's documentary where he talks to all the bands that recorded at a studio called Sound City, and he gets them all together, and long story short, he ends up buying the console, the desk, at the studio, putting it in his studio, and getting all the people who recorded at Sound City to do an album at his place with the same console, the Neve console. Awesome to see how many bands played at that studio, and this album was recorded at that studio, as well as Damn the Torpedoes by Tom Petty as well. So yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic album. I think if you're going to start listening to Tom Petty, this is probably where you would start. So yeah, you should absolutely check this one out. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. This has been fun, diving back into records. If you followed me on my vinyl account, you'll know that I kind of stopped posting for a little while because, well, I had nothing to post really. It was I kind of fell out of love with collecting records, but now that, you know, the world's starting to get a little bit back to normal, I really am looking forward to going record shopping again and getting some bargains, and, you know, and just being able to flick through again. You know, it's the little things, but it's going to be really, really cool. But thank you very much. If you like this video, drop a like and subscribe if you fancy. Like I say, this is not what I'm usually doing. I usually do covers and guitar videos and vlogging and that kind of stuff. But I've been Jack, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.